don't exist. That shit bigger than Jay. She don't exist, man.
Why you feel like it's bigger than Jay?
Because it is.
When Jay would record, right, how was his process in the studio?
Jay ain't had no process. That's I don't know if you understand how big a statement that is. Like, he just did it. I only seen Jay do like one thing, like a little ritual. I know he'll always, when he was working on his albums, he would wear Biggie chain, his Cuban with the Jesus piece, Jay Rock.
The reason that you and Jay fell out was that these famous times where Dame Dash was bringing people to court and bringing these famous people to court. I believe even Mariah Carey came one time, or maybe that's the movie, I'm not sure.
Yeah, that might be the movie.
That might be the movie.
I know Beyonce was it.
Huh?
Beyonce. I'm just glad I ain't a part of that shit.
I don't know, man. I don't know Jay-Z personally, but he don't look like that kind of guy that, you know, would indulge in that kind of activity. You know, performing game bangs on females with other men. Yeah, I don't see that, man.
Who is this? Who is she?
Okay, I see what's really good. You're trying to eliminate the competition. You know, because at first you retire, you know, then get me off the label. Now you
The rap world's been quiet for a long time when it comes to Diddy and Jay-Z. But now it seems like that silence is finally breaking. Artists are starting to speak up, and one of the latest to step forward is Beanie Sigel. He's not holding back anymore. He's airing out his experiences with both Diddy and Jay-Z.
I mean, I just assumed since you did the concert, you guys talked. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
You know, and Jay, just the invite alone. If Jay don't, he not going to.
Right.
So that might have been the conversation.
According to Beanie, he'd heard some wild things about Diddy's infamous freak-off parties. He never took part in them, though he said he knew from the start that Diddy wasn't someone he could trust. But what really stung was his fallout with Jay-Z. Beanie genuinely believed Jay was a friend, someone who had his back. Sadly, like a lot of other rappers have said, both those still around and those we've lost, Jay-Z turned his back on Beanie when he needed support the most. So what really went down between Beanie and Jay-Z? And what exactly did Beanie reveal about those legendary Diddy parties? Let's break it all down.
Dame actually came and got me when I got out of prison.
I was more bothered when Beans chose to go with Jay. That one hurt.
I didn't want to make that choice between Jay or them. I just wanted to stay neutral.
But it almost like he tricked Beans to shelf him and his life up to me.
I don't feel like what. I'm here. James said he had a lot of plans. He had a lot, that he was going to do, but I never got those conversations. When I was going to court in the feds, right? Yeah, man, and I'm quite sure Jay feeling this way too. And people should understand that and look at it. We have the right to face our accuser. 13-year-old, what a 13-year-old doing in one of them parties anyway?
I felt that Jay-Z, Beanie Sigel was the
Yeah, he was fired.
And they will only let Beanie Sigel only sell so many records. This came from an executive. But Benny, they would you couldn't be bigger than Jay-Z on Jay-Z's label.
Man was like, oh. Like that was that. I don't like that was just that. It took everything in me not.
During a conversation, Beanie dropped a sarcastic comment. Y'all got that game. Pause. They stopped saying pause, and now it's just Diddy. That's a bad joint. As rumors around Diddy's possible arrest continue to swirl, more insiders are finally opening up. For a while, 50 Cent was the only one publicly calling Diddy out, and people thought he was just trolling. But now, as lawsuits and controversies pile up, more voices from the industry are joining in. One of them is Beanie Sigel. And Beanie just didn't bring up Diddy. He had a lot to say about Jay-Z too. He said Jay didn't just disappoint him, he betrayed him.
2020, y'all. Yeah. And it's different than when it was 2016. You know, the game has been elevated. As we can tell, there's no expense being spared. We had a black billionaire.
Let's rewind a bit. Beanie and Diddy actually had a decent relationship back in the day. Beanie was even featured on Diddy's second album, Forever, on the track Journey Through the Life, alongside big names like Lil' Kim, Joe Hooker, and Nas. Diddy even wanted to sign him to Bad Boy Records, but Beanie had already committed to Rockefeller. And now he says that was one of the smartest decisions he ever made. He mentioned in an interview on The Art of Dialogue that he has zero regrets about picking Rockefeller over Bad Boy, especially now, seeing how things turned out for so many artists who signed with Diddy. Beanie even questioned if he'd still be around to tell the story had he taken that other path.
I was going to court. It said the white grant versus the United States. When I was in the courtroom, I looked around and I ain't see the United States. I don't think the United States of America could have fit in that courtroom. The earth is spacious. Everybody voicing opinion and talking about this. Jay got the right to face his accuser. Where is this little bit?
Beanie also revealed that he once wrote for Diddy. It happened early in his career, right after he signed with Rockefeller. He said Diddy called him up to work on a track with him and Nas. Beanie ended up staying at the studio and recording a few songs. He admitted that Diddy tried to sign him back then. He joked that he could have been part of Bad Boy or even the Rough Riders. But ultimately, he was already committed to Rockefeller, even though no contract had been signed yet. When asked if he ever regretted that decision, Beanie was firm. No regrets. Not one bit. And if given the chance to do it all over again, he said maybe he'd consider the Rough Riders. But even with hindsight, he wouldn't have switched lanes. When it comes to Diddy's legal mess, Beanie Sigel didn't hold back. He said he'd heard plenty of things over the years, especially about those infamous parties Diddy was known for. But he made one thing crystal clear. He never went. Not even once.
When Jay would record, right, how was his process in the studio?
Jay ain't had no process. That's I don't know if you understand how big a statement that is. Like, he just did it. I only seen Jay do like one thing, like a little ritual. I know he'll always, when he was working on his albums, he would wear a Biggie chain, his Cuban with the Jesus piece. Jay rocked that. He wouldn't get no cut neither until he finished the album. Other than that little ritual right there, that thing he did, Jay ain't had no process.
I ain't know that, man. So when he'll work on an album, he'll wear a chain that he got from Big and he wouldn't get a cut.
Yeah, he'll wear a big personal chain. That was Biggie chain.
Now let's talk about Jay-Z. Back then, Beanie really thought Jay was solid. He trusted him. He believed Jay was different, someone who had his back. But eventually, that trust shattered. And just like Diddy did to his Bad Boy artists, Jay-Z ended up turning on Beanie too. In an interview on Drink Champs back in 2021, Beanie opened up about how it all started. When he signed with Rockefeller in 1998, he wasn't thinking about fame or business deals. He was just happy to be part of something real, something he called La Familia. He described Rockefeller as the first thing he ever joined that actually felt genuine. Coming from South Philly, where survival was a daily thing and loyalty was rare, this meant everything to him. He said life back home was so rough, it was the kind of place where someone could pray next to you and then turn on you in the blink of an eye. So when Rockefeller took him in, he clung to it like it was family. In his words, they didn't want anything else from him except the music, and for him that was enough. That was all he ever needed, someone to say, "We got you." He never even thought of it as a career move. He wasn't thinking about money or deals. For him, it was just about being part of a loyal crew. That's what La Familia meant to him. But like a lot of artists who thought Jay-Z was their brother, Beanie found out the hard way. Jay was all about business, and when Beanie's troubles started to look like a threat to Jay's brand or bank account, that whole La Familia talk went straight out the window. To give some context, Beanie eventually dropped a track in 2009 called I Go Off, teaming up with 50 Cent to take shots at Jay-Z.
Who is the most overrated hip-hop star of all time?
Overrated?
Yeah.
I mean, Jay-Z, he would say he was overrated. Rather be overrated than underpaid.
Jay got all the trophies, man. That's because he signed that contract.
What contract?
The one with Beyonce. No, if you don't sign, you don't give him a trophy, she ain't coming.
Because he's sober?
He ain't answering the phone?
He ain't answering the phone.
But by then, the friendship was already long gone. Things had started to fall apart when Rockefeller split, and Beanie was dealing with legal issues that only seemed to push Jay further away. In that same Drink Champs episode, Beanie Sigel shared one of the moments that hit him the hardest. It was back in 2003. He was dealing with legal issues and about to go on tour with Rockefeller. But right before things kicked off, he had to show up for a bail hearing. He remembered how everyone came through as character witnesses. People had nothing but good things to say about him, and Jay-Z was one of them. Jay vouched for Beanie in front of the judge, talking him up, saying all the right things. And
the reason that you and Jay fell out was that these famous times where Dame Dash was bringing people to court and bringing these famous people to court. I believe even Mariah Carey came one time, or maybe that's the movie. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that might be the movie.
That might be the
I know
movie.
Beyonce
Cool.
was it.
Huh?
Beyonce.
All right, cool. I'm not far off. So there's this rumor that one time that Jay got on the stand or whatever, and they asked him, would you be responsible for Beans? And he said no.
Yeah.
That's the truth?
Absolute truth.
And for a second, it looked like it was working. The judge was about to let Beanie go. But then she asked a simple question. Would Jay be willing to be responsible for Beanie's whereabouts? Not for his actions, just to keep track of where he'd be. Basically, just to check in and say, yeah, he's here, he's there. After all the praise, Jay said no. And it wasn't just what he said, it was how he said it. Beanie described the moment. Jay looked down, then quietly said no. That was it. That's all it took to break him. Beanie said he had never felt that crushed in his life. This was someone he thought was his brother, and in that moment, everything shifted. He started wondering, what if I really needed help? What if this was the only way out? At the time, he wasn't facing a slap on the wrist. He was looking at some serious time. State charges, federal charges, 40 years. That's what was hanging over his head. He imagined what his mom must have been thinking. He even thought, what if I really needed to run? He said if it had been the other way around and Jay needed help, he would have found a way to get his brother out, no matter what. So to be standing there, shackled at the wrists and ankles, looking Jay-Z in the eyes and hearing him say no, that moment took everything out of him. It broke something between them. Because to Beanie, that wasn't just a friend, that was Big Bro.
I let the others go first, so the brothers won't miss. No, but that's what it is. Like, come on, man, where this little bitch at, man?
Yeah, I don't understand that. He can't know who she is, but she can come out and dirty up his name.
That she don't exist, man. She don't exist.
He said no.
Weapons violations, attempted. They try and get a boy 20 to 40 years. They came to me with a deal. That deal was 18 to 36 years. Of course, I turned it down. Thought this was America, people. Guilty until proven innocent, huh?
Now, to be fair, some fans have taken Jay's side. They argued that it wasn't his job to keep track of another grown man, especially one facing serious legal trouble. They said Beanie had to take responsibility for his own actions, and that expecting Jay to carry that weight was unrealistic. Now here's the thing, this whole narrative about Jay-Z being a snake, it doesn't just start and end with Beanie Sigel. A lot of people who were part of Jay's come up have said the same thing. From Jazzo to Dame Dash, the story's always the same. They thought Jay was a real one, someone they could trust, but in the end they felt used and tossed aside.
13-year-old, what a 13-year-old doing in one of them parties anyway? How'd she get there? Where was her mother and her father? Don't nobody believe that shit. Niggas want that shit to be true. That shit corny to me. But, like I said, I don't know. I don't care. I mean,
was getting ready. We thought he was going to go to jail for a couple years. He was on trial. So I was trying to make 4 albums. I was more bothered when Beans chose to go with Jay. That one hurt. Because I'd done a lot and prepared. I chose State Property over Rockware. And I wanted to just roll out with State Property. But it almost like he tricked Beans to shelf him and he fucked his life up to me for doing that. But I had him. You know what I mean? Like, that was my new Jay.
And when you think about it, that kind of behavior almost seems like a pattern. Let's be honest, nobody becomes a billionaire by being the nicest guy in the room. At that level of success, morals and loyalty often take a back seat. So yeah, maybe some of Jay's actions come off as cold, but is that enough to call him out, or is it just bitterness? Well, some folks believe it goes way deeper than business betrayals. One of the loudest voices making claims against Jay-Z is Jaguar Wright. Over the years, she's made some intense accusations, saying Jay wasn't just ruthless in business, but that he actually had a hand in the demise of people close to him. She named names, too. Big L, Pimp C, Aaliyah, and even his alleged mistress, Kathy White. Jaguar questioned what's really going on with Roc Nation and Jay-Z, saying he had no plans to retire and was ready to lead the next wave in music. But then she dropped this unsettling story. Just 3 weeks after someone expressed interest in working with Roc Nation, A stranger allegedly broke into their mansion armed while the man's elderly wife was inside. And it's not just Jaguar. Even people who were once close to Jay have spoken out, like Kanye West. Back in November 2016, just before he was hospitalized, Kanye went on a wild rant during a concert in Sacramento. He called out Jay-Z and Beyonce, accusing them of playing dirty to win awards, and even hinted that Jay might try to silence him. Kanye reportedly said he was hurt after hearing Jay didn't want to perform unless a certain video was approved. He begged, "Jay, I know you. Please don't send anyone at my head. Just call me." Then, less than 24 hours later, Kanye was placed on a 5150 psychiatric hold. The official reason? An episode. But fans were quick to connect the dots, especially after learning he'd been with his former trainer, Harley Pasternak, who later threatened to institutionalize Kanye again and send him back to Zombieland. With all that context, people started asking questions, and honestly, the timing does raise some eyebrows. And let's not forget, Jay-Z wasn't just business partners with controversial figures. He was close friends with both R. Kelly and Diddy for years. Two names now surrounded by scandal after scandal. As soon as Diddy got into legal trouble, people started looking around and realizing Jay-Z was nowhere to be found. Crickets, not a word. And while the mainstream media wasn't touching Jay-Z's connection to Diddy, 50 Cent, he had no problem stirring the pot.
His touring career to Live Nation, they got to keep him hot enough to go get their money back. So they match him up with him, put them together because he got momentum connected to his relationship with Beyonce and his record with Alicia. It makes sense. It makes sense that it's the Detroit, New York show, but it only makes sense to me because of business. It makes sense because them sold like 60 million records more than them. You put them there like the equals. It's tough for me to say some of this shit. I sound like a hater, but I don't.
Right after Homeland Security raided Diddy's properties in March, 50 jumped on Instagram with a meme and wrote, "Anybody seen Jay? LOL. Puff said he ain't answering his phone." And just like that, Jaguar Wright popped back into the conversation. She claimed that it was only a matter of time before people figured out that Jay-Z wasn't just associated with Diddy. She said he might actually be worse.
So who's next?
Y'all don't see the lineup?
Yeah, we see the lineup. I'm just waiting to see who's next. Who's next?
Jay-Z. Why is everyone having such a hard time? He ain't doing shit different. No vindication for me. Because for 4 years, I've been screaming, not just Diddy, but Diddy and Jay-Z are monsters. And the victim-making machine kept going on.
Jay-Z has been notable by his silence since these charges were brought against Diddy. Why do you think that is?
Because that's what he does. He starts little fires everywhere. Forces everyone involved to go and carry water while he sneaks away without a response. That changes now, Sean.
Jaguar didn't hold back. She threw serious shade, saying it must suck to realize Jay-Z could be part of the same mess. She even went further, calling both Jay-Z and Diddy psychopaths. According to her, they've been working together for over 25 years, collecting victims, competing with each other, and even claiming prizes.
You can actually see Diddy turning into the diddler the more and more that he drinks.
In his defense, without him needing...
Just want to have another shot to that before y'all drink, because I want to just make sure. But I just want to let y'all know y'all on drink champs, where everything goes, you know, when we slur our words.
Come on,
no, this me and you.
Oh, I need a shot.
Yeah, I got you. Eyes.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I love this drink champs. I like when you like this, Daddy. Daddy, I like when you scrambling and scraping. I like that. But did you miss me, though? Man, but I'm talking about for your birthday. Why won't you party with me for your birthday, man?
We partied for my birthday before. You came to my party.
No, but me and you ain't never really partied, you know what I'm saying? Eyes, brother. Eyes.
Then she made a comparison that shook people. She brought up the movie Kiss the Girls, you know, the one with Morgan Freeman. She explained how in that film, two assassins were working in secret, doing the same things in different ways. Same pattern, same goal, different style. According to Jaguar, investigators in that movie figured it out by tracking things like their timing, the way they hunted, the type of victims they chose. And in the end, it was the sloppy one that got them caught, because the smarter one, the more sophisticated one, taught him how to do it in the first place. That's when she dropped the bomb. Jaguar said Sean Carter, aka Jay-Z, was just as bad as the worst of them. And she didn't say it lightly. She said she had the scars to prove it. Now sure, people love to call her crazy. Others say she's just chasing clout. But what's wild is how often she's been ahead of the curve. Long before Cassie filed her lawsuit, Jaguar was already calling out Diddy. She labeled him a harsh perpetrator 3 years before anyone else did. She even claimed that Diddy was using the music industry and his mentorship under Clive Davis as a cover for his dark behavior. And with her track record, people are starting to ask, what if she's right about Jay-Z too? Only time will tell.
I love you. I'm having a great night.
It's more. Yeah, more.
I like that pink, man. Mom. Okay, Mom. All right. Absolutely. Thank you.
When it comes to Beanie Sigel, a lot of fans are standing by him. Yeah, he's made some mistakes in the past, but compared to guys like Jay-Z and Diddy, some people think Beanie's starting to look like a saint.
I'm just glad I ain't a part of that shit.
I don't know, man. I don't know Jay-Z personally, but he don't look like that kind of guy that, would indulge in that kind of activity. Performing gangbangs on females with other men. Yeah, I don't see that, man.
Who is this? Who is she?
One viewer even said they believe Jay-Z was way worse than Diddy. Not for the same reasons, but because in their words, if you have any level of high consciousness, when you know, you know. They didn't go into detail, but the vibe was clear. They weren't buying into Jay's public image. Another fan brought up Beyonce and Kanye, referencing some of the past drama and saying that people should have listened to Kanye all along. And with all that said, it leaves a pretty big question hanging in the air. Beanie Sigel and Jay-Z have always had a pretty complicated relationship. From the start, things weren't exactly smooth between them. Long before Beanie dropped that diss track in 2009, the two had already gone their separate ways. And that public fallout gave everyone a front row seat to the infamous Rockefeller breakup. On Drink Champs in 2021, Beanie opened up about one of the hardest moments he had with Jay. Back in 2003, he was facing serious charges, federal weapons charges, and even attempted homicide. Jay-Z did show up and vouch for him in court, but then told the judge he wasn't willing to be responsible for Beanie's whereabouts. Looking back, Beanie admitted that moment broke him. He said it hurt more than anything else he'd experienced in their friendship. In his words, that took away everything he thought they had. Jay wasn't just a label head to him, that was Big Bro. Beanie believed that at the time, Jay probably saw him as unpredictable. He knew he was wild, hard to control, and maybe even a liability. But still, hearing Jay back away like that in court hit different.
When, I'm going to court, and we about to be on tour. We on tour. So a whole nother tour. Yeah, we on a whole nother tour. So, I'm going for my bail hearing in the feds. And the judge asked Jay, everybody's saying all these good things and all that. The character witnesses, Dame, and, everybody's saying, and even Jay said a whole lot of good things about me, and the judge was going to let me go, monitored. And she said, would you be willing, and that's the part that people don't have, would you be willing to be responsible for his whereabouts, not be responsible for my actions, just his whereabouts? Would you be willing to do that? Provide us with all the information, saying that he's going to be here, there. And after all that good, and he said no. But it was like the way he said it, and he put his...
Thankfully, the two eventually made peace. By 2015, they were back on good terms, even sharing the stage again during a Tidal-hosted concert. But Beanie later admitted he regretted not talking it out sooner. He said they never actually had that one-on-one conversation about what happened. He wished Jay had explained things to him face-to-face, like, where were you when I needed you? Because for Beanie, it wasn't just about business, it was personal. The silence weighed on him. All he wanted was some real communication.
He was like, no, I've never been crushed like that ever in my life. Because I'm like, damn, this is my man, like, and I looked at it like, all right, no. what if I had to get the there? I'm in jail, I'm still tall, all my but what if I really needed to go? This was going in my mind. Like,
get out of jail, you say?
Like, yeah, like, bro, I had attempted in the state and the federal gun charge and all this though. 40 years is over. This is what I'm facing, 40 years.
Right.
What if in my mind I'm thinking like, damn, what if I really need to roll? Be on a run and go. Like, I'm from like, this my man and I love you. If he skipped that, I'm getting my man, I'm getting him out by any means necessary. So for me to look him in his eyes and I'm shackled around the wrist, ankles and everything, and the man was like, oh. Like that was that I don't know, like that was just that it took everything in me not to like let one go. Like that took away a lot of I thought that we had.
He also looked back on how it all started. Beanie got connected to Jay-Z through his friend, Bubonic, from Philly's Most Wanted. Not long after they met, Jay offered him a record deal. Just like that, his career had taken off. Now, there are still questions lingering on our minds. Was Beanie Sigel right for calling Jay-Z out? Will Jay be the next one to fall after Diddy? Or is he too protected to ever be touched? Let us know what you think in the comments below. That's it for today's video. If you liked it, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more updates.